Hey everybody, it's about time we continued the SpellForce free campaign. Sorry for the extremely long break on this, but enjoy 1440p, higher quality. Last time we finished up in Leafshade and helped out the elves, who will hopefully be our allies now. Back to Mulandir, we can go and talk to our characters and find out what our next quest is going to be.
Made yourself comfortable?
Comfortable? Believe me, being comfortable is the last thing on my mind right now. Just look at this place. A Shaper city. Don't you feel it too? This sense of divinity?
You seem to be quite excited to be here.
Why, of course I am.
Pretty shiny
Tahar,
place.
I'm not sure if you understand how much this means to me. The forgotten city of Mulandir, the heritage of the Shapers. Since my childhood days, I've dreamed of this. I suppose what I'm trying to say is, thank you. You and the Harbinger have made this dream come true.
Glad to be of service.
You're too kind. Anything else I can help you with? If not, I'd like to take another look at that rune Lekain gave us. It's at least as amazing as this place.
So we can have him do that, I think.
May I help you with something?
Have him check the rune.
Found out anything new about the rune?
Well, so far all I can say is that what Lekain has given you is indeed a Shaper artifact, as we suspected. Now, I would write all this purity talk of the rune being a gift of Aenir off as religious nonsense if it weren't for the fact that the rune's energy actually interacts with the Godstones, shrines of Aenir.
Which means that the Shapers and Aenir are somehow connected.
Somehow, yes. And I'll find out how.
We can just get on with the main thing and see if we can do any crafting with him.
Could you use these to upgrade your armor?
Yeah, wait. What's that? Nihalf's hammer. This is amazing. No, more than that. This is phenomenal.
I don't follow. What's so special about that thing?
This thing, as you call it, is part of an artifact. One that the scholars have been writing about for centuries. It might be possible to reconstruct them, and that... I can't even begin to imagine what that would entail.
So we got a spot for that. We are gonna check it out.
Goodbye.
But there's another big conversation here to have with Iana, so let's check that out as well.
Can you tell me more about your abilities? What's it like to be a Dreamweaver?
Well, I suppose trying to explain that to someone who isn't is like explaining what water feels like to someone who never swam before. It's strange. I can sense things. Emotions, thoughts. But also the echoes of such. If I enter a place where someone has died, I feel that person's sorrow. That person's fear. My mind, my consciousness, it's open. I know that might sound very vague, but it's the best I can do.
Kind of like an empath in Star Trek is what I'd
word.
compare that to. So what's over here? Scryer Elion. I assume she's to do with the elf battalion that we just helped out. So let's see what she has to say. Probably has a mission for us. Or maybe she completes the gain at least one ally quest actually by talking to her.
Wait, aren't you Scryer Elion from Leonon?
That's where we met her, yeah.
I'm the Scryer Finrior and Merilith sent to lead the Moorhere troops who'll be supporting your cause. Actually, I was hoping you'd come by. I think we should have a talk, shouldn't we?
You got nervous. You overreacted. It's fine.
It's not fine. Many men and women died that day. And just because of me. Which is another reason why I'm happy they sent me here.
Well, they saved the
It's a
village.
chance
I mean, they
to
were
make
going
up
to
for
save the
what I
village,
did.
or
Though that
attempt
does
it.
not mean that your commander, General Noria, didn't also play a role in this. His reputation was well known, even among us.
Ah, we're not gonna get everything. And there they are. Now we can play as the elves, which I believe, if we get an RTS mission, I will do.
In any case, with our new allies, we should be able to go look for the stones.
True. So what are we gonna get next? 10 focus, 50 health. That's a pretty good necklace to start with. Light magic. What does Iria have? Because she has light magic, and she doesn't seem to have necklace. I think that is actually right for her. She probably wouldn't be having too much focus anyway, as is. Only 60. It's not exactly great, so let's put that on. Seems good to me. There's quite a lot of these craftable artifacts that we've been collecting as well so far. We'll check at least these quest lines that we've got. Secrets of the Shapers. Discuss your next step as the war table to advance in the main quest.
What do you require?
We might do that.
Got it.
Alright, let's see. Ooh, we got some of the parts apparently. No. No, we don't. What do we have then? Alright, some of them have like a part. It's gonna take a while to find all the
Corporal,
parts, I'm
that
afraid. Let's move up here. Some shiny wardens around. And we're gonna listen to what our characters have to say.
Sure.
Is there anything you need?
It's apparently more.
Yeah, do you need something? I'm a tad busy.
Oh, you're so busy.
What exactly is it that fascinates you
I
about
guess
the
we can just
Shapers?
find out more about the characters.
Oh, that's quite a topic. I don't mind sharing, but are you sure you want to go there?
I am. Tell me.
All right. Well, where do I start? You see, the Shapers have always fascinated
Trying to
me.
get a good angle.
They're all over EO. These remnants of a once so glorious civilization. Yet for some reason, so many people are almost oblivious to it. On the one hand, of course, that's very sad. On the other hand, it also makes it a lot more exciting. It's like I'm a treasure hunter, only that everyone else fails to see the treasures around us. Tell me, Tahar, when seeing all of this, don't you sometimes feel like you're exploring a childhood dream? The kind of world the poets and the bards always spoke of?
The Shapers are dangerous. Just think of that Steel Guardian we fought to get in, or the Ghost Watchers. Not what I call a childhood dream.
Yeah, but it doesn't take away from the wonderment, does it? But this childish fascination was only the spark. The more I studied the Shapers, the more enthralled I became with their culture. Did you know that at the pinnacle of their existence, they ruled over all of EO? A global empire with no one to oppose them.
You seem to consider that a good thing.
Oh, good, bad, the world doesn't work like that. Of course, there are writings that hint at the fact that the Shaper Empire wasn't all rainbows and unicorns, but still it was stable. And it persisted for tens of thousands of years. Can you imagine? All this knowledge, all this art, all this wisdom. Nothing in the EO of today can match that. Nothing. It's like comparing a sea full of secrets with a puddle of muddy water.
And how exactly did their empire come to be? They must have conquered quite a few nations.
They had the liberty of being the first living civilization on our EO, at least as far as we know. That made it easier to maintain peace and stability. Until the end, and dragons.
My father always told me the Shaper Empire relied a lot on slaves.
What? No, that's rubbish. The Shapers had castes, yes, and it's probably the lower castes your father was referring to. But to call these slaves is like calling, say, a tanner who was born outside a royal family a slave, just because he'll never be a king. And even the very lowest caste, the Zalanyur, always had enough to eat, a roof over their heads, and could, without paying a single coin, get themselves healed by a cleric if they needed to. So if you think that's unjust, go ahead. Ask an Everlight beggar which era he'd rather live in. He's not a slave, yes, but in some ways he's worse off.
How do you know all this?
Some of it from writings, some of it's just connecting the dots. I know how many scholars are out there at the universities giving their talks about the inscrutable empire, but it's not nearly as inscrutable as they say. Their problem is they're trying to understand the Shapers
Sounds like a
by
lot of
reading
projection to me.
books and dusty tablets. That's not how it works. You need to get out there, into the field. And even if it takes years of fruitless digging, eventually you're bound to stumble onto something. Another piece of the mosaic.
Very poetic.
Because it is.
And yet, they died out.
Yeah. Great mystery.
Most scholars think it was the dragons.
They do, but I doubt it. You saw what the Shapers were capable of. Even a race as powerful as the dragons couldn't have wiped them out. And you see the shape this city is in, Tahar. There's no traces of fire and destruction. But regardless of what it was, it doesn't change the fact that the way the current races of this world treat the Shapers is nothing short of pathetic. They were greater than we'll ever be. But instead of studying this greatness, we ignore them. And why? Just because it doesn't fit into our religion, our traditions, or whatever reason they can come up with. Because to many, admitting what a marvel the Shapers truly were would mean admitting that our culture is pale in comparison.
I do think he's idealizing very, very much.
No offense, but to me, it sounds as though you're idealizing. The Shaper world wasn't what you think it was.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. In any case, I suppose you found your answer, haven't you? This is what fascinates me about the Shapers. They're a reminder of what we could be, if only we wanted to.
I see. Well, thanks for the explanation, Iskram. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he's definitely fanboying over the Shapers, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yes?
Corporal? Need anything?
So this is going to be a very, very conversation-heavy episode. I hope you guys don't mind.
Tell me about your time on the road. What was it like?
Is that a command, Corporal?
Smartass.
Never mind.
All right.
Wait,
Tell me about your
Wrong
time on the
button.
road. What was it?
Is that a command?
Please?
All right. But I'm afraid there isn't so much to tell. Have you ever been on the road by yourself?
A long time ago. Yeah.
Well, then you know how wearisome it can get. Sleeping under the stars sounds romantic at first, until you realize that most of the time it's sleeping in the mud, in drizzle. Most of the time, your stomach and your purse are empty, and your feet are full of blisters. And of course, there's the constant danger, especially if you're traveling on your own.
Do you miss it sometimes? The vagabond life?
Well, we're still vagabonds somehow, aren't we? But I know what you mean. And yeah, I sometimes do. The wind on my skin, the vastness of the wildlands, and the fact that all you have to think about is the mile ahead of you. It's another world. There was this one night I'll never forget. I'd made a camp at a clearing, set up campfire, and I was leaning against a tree, slowly drifting toward sleep. Then, all of a sudden, it started to rain. Not just the usual drizzle, it was bucketing down, drowning everything, the earth, the noise, the plants around me. My first impulse was to jump up, to find shelter, get my things into the dry. But I didn't. Instead, I saw. I don't know how else to put it. All of a sudden, there was this deep sense of peace, as if all my life I had been chasing something without knowing it myself. And in that moment, had found it. So I just watched. I sat there, and I watched. That feeling lasted until the sun came up. And then I fell asleep. When I woke up, it was gone.
That sounds beautiful.
And a bit dramatic. But yeah, it was beautiful. I've never felt something like that again.
And what do you make of it now?
Truth be told, I don't know. But it changed something. Even though I cannot say what it is.
Yeah, very interesting how people just suddenly find inner peace like that. What are we gonna spend these points into now? Funnily, our spark wasn't actually assigned there. In terms of abilities, we already are pretty full. Maybe we are gonna build up Hailstorm for Tahar here. But kinda need more passives, I feel like. Or I could grab this, work on that auto attack. We have enough spells for now. Enough AoE and everything. That's the perk. Auto attacks gain magic,
Yes?
which we don't have, so that seems pretty obvious as a pick to me. Probably the biggest change we can make for now. Notch of Assault tap, adding extra focus regen. He does run out of focus fairly easily at just 50. So that makes a lot of sense. It's for Iana. Pretty happy with her autos already. We've got Raise level 2, so that's pretty good. Unleash Wrath, that's a boon, I'm afraid. Immune to stun. Not particularly useful right now. Does she already have bleeding on her weapons? Yeah. So that skill actually wouldn't help right now. If we also got bleeding damage applied. Because we already kind of do that with the weapons. But only on crits. Well, that's fine for now. Ooh, what can I give her then? Just more attack damage?
I am
Keep
ready.
focusing on that. Could do that. Could do that, or could work into Dream Weaving here, or ability cooldowns reduced. That might be interesting. Yeah, Assassination is not all that interesting here. Alright, so we've done everything. It's time for the main mission.
All right, let's cut to the chase. We need to discuss where and how we start our search. You are all familiar with the objective?
Find the Forge Stones, reignite the Nexus, decipher the song with it, and put an end to the Bloodburn.
That's about it. Iria thinks that someone removed the Nexus stones shortly before the city was abandoned, but they left their markers on that stone map. And now that we have a small army backing us up, we can start searching. Eskrim?
Yeah, we suspect one of the stones to be in the desert of Aenir's Blade, probably in the possession of the Iron Falcons, whereas the other one is on an unknown island.
An unknown island?
Correct. And yes, the oceans might have long taken it, which is why the only way to find out is to build a ship. And to...
Wait. That island. Does it happen to be in the northwest? In the Black Sea?
I think so.
That is interesting. 2 years ago, there was an archaeologist in Everlight who claimed the same. That there was an island in the Black Sea, unknown to our cartographers.
Did he find it?
That is a complicated story. But building a ship would take months, and this is a trail we could follow. If we go to Everlight, I can tell you more.
Well, it does sound promising.
And intriguing. So, where do we go first, Tahar? Everlight or Aenir's Blade?
I'll think about it and let you know when we head out. For now, just get prepared.
Will do, Corporal.
Yeah, we could take a look at just Everlight.
So, what's the
So
plan?
I've separated that into a new video, everybody. Thanks for watching this little narrative intermission. And in the next video, I'll have the Everlight mission for you, uncovering information about this mysterious island. I'll see you there.